So let's just continue our continued conversation. And today it is on effective ways to grow. Can I just, hand over back to you because you wanted to say something. You said you
Okay,
had.
right. Since I've got a few points on growth, since that's the
Yes.
topic for today. I actually want to start with resilience first, because if we're not resilient, if we don't develop a certain level of resiliency, it would be difficult to learn anything new. Like, because when we learn something new, we're literally outside of our comfort zones, right? So when we're being challenged, it's not going to be comfortable. And if we don't develop a level of resilience, it would
Mhm.
be difficult to go on to, you
Oh,
know,
yes,
continue
because with
on.
everything we're learning new, we're exposing ourselves. And also, yeah, as you said so wonderfully, yeah, we're going outside the comfort zone. And this means also that people will react to that. So then there are comments likely to emerge. And these comments we need to be able to digest. Exactly.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
comments or like setbacks. We're going to hit setbacks. Like
Hmm.
my view is that anytime when we're outside of a comfort zone, and the longer it is that we're outside of a comfort zone, the more failure we're going to hit. We
Hmm.
most likely will fail a lot more than, succeeding, and that's just the game. That's just how it goes. I mean, that's just how
Exactly.
I
And the
understand things.
failure, if I may build on that, that is the necessary thing to learn. If I don't have at least three failures with whatever I do learn, that means I'm not learning. Is it like that for you as well?
I think so. Like, I mean, 3 would be ideal, but like for my case, it happens a lot more than that. I'm not even counting. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not.
let's not count. But also, just to also reiterate what we said last time, it is sometimes the words that hinder us in our minds, isn't it? Because our society has chosen the word failure, we attribute it negatively, but it's not a failure. It's not negative. It's actually just a learning that this doesn't work. That's it. It's neutral.
I love that idea. Like, I see the same thing as when people say negative emotions. I don't see it as that way, because when we
Yeah,
label something
emotions
as
are not
negative, that's
exactly.
all that just made it negative. We
Yeah.
turn the context completely negative. I like to use words more like challenging, or I actually found another word yesterday that I would like to use, but I forgot, which is better than challenging emotions or
Okay,
challenging
let's park
situations.
that. I will put here whenever you remember the word for challenge, you will. Okay, we will remember.
Uncomfortable is probably less, like less impactful
Yes.
than challenging, and the challenging is
Mhm.
better than negative, I think. So
Yeah. But can I just also underline what you said, the thing about emotions? Because as such, emotions are completely neutral, aren't they? I mean, if I'm sad, it doesn't mean it's negative. I'm just sad. That's it. It's neutral. I mean, emotions happen to our body, to our mind, to our human existence, but we actually then socially construct something out of it. We have over the centuries come to believe that being sad is negative. Why? That's a social constructionist or a social construction actually of an emotion, isn't it?
I do believe so. I agree with you. And when we have this type of assumptions, we probably subconsciously just, run away from what's negative.
Yeah, what we have come to believe as negative, but actually,
Right.
can I
Because we
can
don't
I
want to deal
just
with it,
also
right?
use an
It's
example?
negative.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Because we don't want to deal with something that's negative, right? So we shut it down, like, without even thinking.
Exactly.
We implicitly do that as a culture, I think. So
Yeah.
it's like we have to fight, like, against that in a way by relabeling them as not negative, but challenging or uncomfortable. Anything except for using the word negative, please.
Exactly. No, it's true. And actually, do you feel as well that this thing then that comes up within ourselves, let's go back to the example of feeling sad, then I'm constantly also saying, okay, I'm sad. That's it. So why should I now feel bad about it or even have negative thoughts? I'm just sad. That's it. I can be sad. I'm a human being. I don't have to
Right.
be happy, rainbowy all the time.
Right, which when if someone's happy and rainbowy all the time, I would be afraid, honestly. Like, is this a person? Like, like, do I
Ah,
like, are they
ah,
okay? Are they hiding behind the
absolutely.
rainbow? Like, what is
Yeah.
it?
That is an excellent way of putting it. It's kind of a rainbowy monster.
It
Yeah.
is.
So yeah, I let you continue. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yes, resilience. Hold on, let me turn on my notes and I can look at them. So like embracing challenges is also related to resilience. In embracing creativity, for
Mhm.
me, like that's more like to be able to embrace something, we have to realize the benefits or advantage of something. So
Mhm.
for us to embrace creativity, we have to realize that we all have creativity inside of us.
And how it
We
is
have
unique,
that
right?
ability. I'm
Exactly. We
sorry.
have that ability and how it is completely unique. This is where I think we said that already once, that comparison with others doesn't help because creativity is unique. So in finding our own, or kind of seeing in ourselves how we are creative, it doesn't help to look to others to say, oh, how does creativity work? No, it doesn't work like that. For me, for example, painting images wouldn't be creative because that's not my way of being creative. For example, do you feel the same? Like I have this thing that I think we constantly need to rediscover how this week we can be creative. For example, it's momentaneous and it's individual.
I completely agree with you. Everybody's creativity comes out differently. It doesn't mean like, it has to be like art or like writing or whatever. Like when we say if we open the fridge and we're trying to fix a meal, like we look at what we have in the fridge, that's already creativity
That
in like
is
at work.
creativity. Exactly, creating something from nothing. Exactly.
Right.
Oh, can I use now the example of your fantastic video? And I think you had it in a post where I so much clicked with that. It was wonderful. I think you posted about that, where you said you had been some weeks kind of offline out in nature. You were just like going a bit away from that hamster wheel of constantly doing content. And if I understood you correctly, you then said, but actually, I realized going away or taking distance from that and being more in natural spaces, actually, I I understood you that you were completely creative in that period, that actually you continued producing stuff because your mind doesn't stop just because you changed the context.
Right. I think a lot of times, like, this is just from me listening to, other experts talking about, the flow state and creativity and all that.
Yeah.
It's difficult to be creative when we're completely stressed out, when our nervous system, when
Yeah.
something is on our nerves, literally. So
That's a nice way
it's
of putting it. Yeah.
so it's important to like change our environment if that's what we need. Sometimes even when we just, just a quick getaway. Like I took a 2-day
Hmm.
vacation last week just to get away from my area. I'm already living in a really small town. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by nature already, but I know I needed a different like region, a different type of nature.
Ah,
So I went
yeah.
to the beach instead.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, that's just to break things up.
And
And
did it bring you that kind of new pattern? I mean, something that changed then in terms of your thinking, or how did you come back?
when I was away that 2 days, because I was in a different environment and I was around different people, different even a different accent. It's weird, same state, but different
Ah,
accent.
yeah, 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 yeah. That
You can
even,
carry
yeah.
on. Yeah, it gave me different ideas because, like, when I'm in a strange place, I see strange or new things, right? So when we're exposed to new things or strange things, it automatically gives us new ideas. Whether these ideas register into like a context or language or not, I think we can still absorb from that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I was just thinking again about language. That's probably where our expression that makes a difference comes from. Because if something makes a difference, it means it has kind of left an impact on us or it has inspired us. And
Yep.
making a difference, you just said that. So you went away and it made a difference in your way of thinking because you saw new things and that disrupted your regular kind of whatever you see every day. you
Yep,
know
that's
and
it.
I think this is how we function, we human beings. And if we are honest with ourselves and admit to that, it's actually completely unproductive, if I can say that in a provocative manner. If you look at organizations, to put human beings in front of a desk and force them to be every day in the same posture and context, because that's so, I mean, as we just said it, you cannot be creative in that way.
Maybe, those kinds of organizations, they don't even need their employees to be that creative. Like,
It depends
there's
on
just
the job
systems,
at
right?
hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't have a background in corporations, so I don't know how that plays out for other people. I'm just, assuming. So, but I also have my own little hamster wheel just working from home, right? Because I have certain tasks I need to do, like daily tasks. But
Mhm.
when that happens, when that's something that we have to do, what I found that for myself is I had to learn how to break up like my own day. We
Ah,
don't
yes,
have to
yes,
pick
yes.
like days or weeks
The
or like
routine.
go to like a 3,000 miles away or something just to break away, but we can still, yeah, like what you said, routines, or like
Mhm.
maybe even like throwing yourself out of a routine. Like I
Exactly.
find time blocking helps, but I like my time blocks kind of like small, and then I kind of
Mhm.
take a break. But during the break time, I don't really have a set like routine for what I do during break time. I just let myself go. Like if I want to go to the backyard and pick blueberries since it's summer, I go and pick blueberries. If I
Yummy
just want to live
blueberries.
for a little, it's just that space where I can do whatever I wanted.
Exactly, and to clear the mind, as we say. And that's exactly what this does. The break clears your mind. And the time boxing, I can agree with you. The smaller they are, the time boxes, they actually, recently I saw that. Where was that? On which channel? They actually recommend now as well that smaller time boxes can help you to beat procrastination. Because if you I think it was Ali Abdal on his channel on productivity. He said, if you put yourself just a 5 minute time box, you think, I'm just going to spend 5 minutes on that. So the brain is kind of, you trick yourself into, it's not going to be a big task because I'm just going to spend 5 minutes. In that way, you kind of don't perceive that time box as the big mountain that then leads us to procrastination. We all know that, right?
I love that. I love that. That's something that I do exactly, like smaller time block,
You do
but
that
at
as
the
well,
same
right? Yeah.
time, sometimes if I don't have like a expert backing me up, if it's something that I think I just started doing, and sometimes I have this self-doubt, right? The inner critic would be like, "No, you're just being lazy." But no, it's actually helping at this point.
Yeah,
So
exactly. We need to also admit that we can have whatever techniques totally individual, and there's no, I don't know, book or expert who has said that 1,000 1,000 years ago. We don't need that. Yeah, that's the uniqueness again. And once we admit that, we become really self-aware, and that's the power of self-awareness and also self-honesty, right? To say that works for me, and for others it might not work to eat blueberries in the break, but for me it works. I just use this example because for me that works definitely.
right.
So, did you have other examples? Because I
I
absolutely want to talk about your video.
Okay, you can go ahead. I mean, I've got so many examples actually.
Ah,
I'm just like choosing whichever one that comes to mind. I'm
we will
looking at
continue
them.
for hours. So let's just also watch the time. No, we're good in the time. I just wanted to congratulate you on your video where you basically helped us understand your journey on, and I think it was your latest video. Am I right?
Mhm.
On your channel. So, dear viewers, please check out the latest video of Dilys. It's really, I recommend it because you helped us understand your personal journey of overcoming this, how you put it. I hope I cite you correctly, the fear of speaking in front of a camera, right? And
Yeah.
that is so big because you let us in a very authentic way on how you did it. Doesn't mean it's a recipe, but you said that so self-honestly, and the voiceover was so clear and also honest. Yeah, it was honesty. And for me, it was feelable even across the video. So congratulations on that. Really.
Nice. Well, this is my first video that I actually didn't write a script. I literally just
Ah,
like
even without a
it's
script.
yeah, I just literally went with whatever I saw, like whatever I was seeing on my screen is are the like footage that I've taken, right? And it's just and that's
That's so
what's
interesting.
been
So
on my
you got
mind.
the footage first and then you commented on it.
I think I did both first. I can't remember, like, it was just footage and then I
That's so
commented.
interesting.
There's yeah,
Cool,
that
because
was
I
the
was
first
perceiving
time.
it as you had the interplay of both, of the video, I mean, of the images you had and the script. But if I see it that way, it's even more powerful. If you just describe your own experience, then it's really powerful.
Without the script, yeah, that's a lot. That's actually a lot easier to do without the scripts now. Before I couldn't do that. I didn't feel like it's weird that we have to practice of being authentic. It's more like
Yeah,
practicing of how to communicate your authenticity. Not that we have to practice to be authentic, but it's
yeah,
to practice to
to
what did I
communicate
say?
it.
To communicate our authenticity.
It's
It's so
really a different
strange.
layer, isn't it? And as we said, we have a continuous conversation about communication. What you just said, it is, I confirm, it is really hard to communicate authenticity, because as soon as we write it on a piece of paper, by the way, dear viewers, we call this regular podcast, we called it unscripted, because I think that's our both of our personal journey at the moment, and we want to help others with that. How to learn how to communicate what is going on in your mind, but in such a way that other people can actually relate to it, because it's not that easy, isn't it?
Very true. Yes.
So the images, the experience, the words you put on it, and also to stay true to yourself without having to think in every moment. And that's what I felt with your video. You were not thinking in that moment about, okay, what might the viewers think now? Because as soon as that sets in, you know what is the
That
result?
it's people pleasing, and if it's too much people pleasing, then we're not communicating what we meant
Yeah.
usually.
So may I ask you, how did you get to that point where you said, okay, let's just do this video now? Was that kind of, did you say, no, on this day I will just do it now, or did you actually plan it?
I didn't plan, it just came. Like, I thought, "Hey, let me just go ahead and pop these footage together onto DaVinci Resolve." That's what I use, where I just pop it in the, whatever they call it. And then I don't know, I can't really remember every video that I do it differently, just whatever it comes, but this time it really made a huge difference because, like I said,
Mhm.
I did not script at all. Before I
Ah,
had to at
cool.
least, like, start with some kind of script, and then I might add something while I'm doing voiceovers. This time I had, like, 0 script, like, just
Wow.
0.
And after this experience, what do you say? Is this now your way of doing videos, or do you say, no, 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 it stays that creative experience every time different?
I tried to start on my next video, like, last week, and I tried to tell myself I'm gonna do the same thing, same as what I can remember what I did from last time. I couldn't replicate it, so I'm just gonna, like, go with the flow.
Uniqueness.
I
Mhm.
might n I might need to come up with one sentence first, like, sometimes how I write my articles. If this is a really good thing, like, it's the same as writer's block, right? Creating videos, for
Ah,
me
yes.
anyway.
Nice.
So
Mhm.
we always have something to say because our minds never stop, right? Like, we're still alive. So we have all these thoughts. The problem I see with writer's block or any creativity block is that we are probably overthinking,
Yeah.
and we can't, we're overthinking is self-judgment, is the inner critic that's blocking everything. We don't wanna put anything down because we're judging ourselves. So it's really important, just to say something, just by saying the first word, any word or any sentence, and then, like, go from there really helps.
And go
That's
from there
how
and stick with it, right? I made a
Mhm.
similar experience. I actually had this long period as well where I fought with my own self-judgments without admitting to myself that it's self-judgment. And I constantly corrected my headlines. And I was like, no, stop. Once I realized that this is going on, I said, so I commit now to this headline. I write a short piece. So now I'm talking about my blog writing. And then I publish that. And if I want to have a new headline or a changed one, I do a different one. So not to overthink that one block, it's similar.
Right. I
And
mean,
that
like,
can totally hold us up. It's just us.
going back to the beginning when we talk about, failure, the rate of failure versus the rate of success, right? It's the same for creating stuff. Like, when we have this perfectionistic mindset, then,
Ah,
oh no, we're
yes.
gonna keep, like, editing or editing your headline, for example, and never publish anything. When we actually need to realize the fact that most of the stuff that we create, same as when we're out of a comfort zone, we're going to fail most of the time. Most of my articles are crap. I don't Yeah, they are. I don't care,
But
but,
they
like, it's
are a learning process, aren't they? Because if you hadn't published them, you wouldn't know now how to write the good ones, right?
exactly,
So we need
exactly,
the bad ones. That's exactly the
exactly.
point. And
Yeah.
now to relate back to our title, the ways to grow. This is growth, isn't it? Because if we don't publish the crap ones, there will not be a good one.
That's so true. We wouldn't even know when something is crap or a
Yeah.
diamond until after it's published,
Yeah.
especially on Medium. Like sometimes we don't know until like months later. Like I've got articles that were completely ignored until like what 1 month later, and everybody's like, "Oh, like let's start reading this article." It's like, okay,
Yeah,
whatever. We just
exactly.
never know.
Exactly. And also, it gives you, I mean, apart from obviously the debate around it and the feedback, the comments from the readers or from the viewers in terms of YouTube, it gives you that distance for yourself from the piece. Because once we get too close to a topic, we don't see anymore how much it's sparkling and fresh and inspiring. That is also part of overthinking, isn't it? Once we get
Yes,
too close to a topic, of course it's necessary. I hear all those people saying now, yeah, we need to analyze properly. Of course it's necessary to analyze properly. But once we get too close to a topic after a long period of time, we don't see it sparkling anymore. And then it loses the fascination. And if we then overthink, it's already dead, you know?
that is so true. Yes, yes.
So the self-honesty for me, it was my big learning. I need to just realize when I'm doing this is the self-imposed barrier, right? It's something that we do to ourselves without even realizing. Something it's even sometimes I realize it's even unconscious when I have these typical moments where I say, no, 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 I will go back to it later, right? Now, what does that mean? That means in reality, never. Because that's a procrastination technique of myself, right?
But at the same time, I wanna see this in a positive light because I do the same thing too. I have, like, probably 200 different drafts on Medium, just
Yeah,
on Medium,
I
right?
agree
But
with you.
they're not all, like one some of them are just, like, literally 1 or 2 words,
Mhm.
and it's okay, and it becomes a list where we can, if we want to, whenever we feel like it, we can just go back over the list, look down, and if an
That's true.
inspiration sparks, then we just continue, and then maybe we won't touch it again in, I don't know, 10 years. I don't know, maybe not that long, like 10 weeks or something, and then I mean,
Yeah,
some
that's true.
articles are just like that.
And sometimes I agree with you. It depends. As always in life, it depends. But sometimes also they need to ripen and to mature. So we need that distance. So we can't go back to it. I was referring to that case where you have actually spent on an article or a video already, I don't know, the last 3 weeks intensely. And you have worked on it like mad. You have gathered feedback. You have done analysis, research, everything. And you're still not ready to publish it. That's this case, I mean, you know?
Okay, yes, I hate that, that's very frustrating, and that makes the
Yeah.
creativity, process even worse because you like
Mhm.
you said, like, we're really, like, literally stuck at that point.
Exactly. That's the
Stress.
because that came into my mind when you said writer's block or when we get stuck in our creative process. And then also what helps is disruption, like disrupting ourselves, either challenging ourselves. That's what I do in these situations, like literally talking to myself and saying, "Can you please take yourself not too seriously?" That helps me, and also to
I'm
laugh
working on
about
myself.
myself
I need
because
to do that more.
yeah, and it's really that helps, or as you just said, also for me, distance, physical distance helps getting out. Doesn't matter, just different, and talking to different people. It's always refreshing talking to you because it shows me, okay, yeah, people can relate to that, you can relate to that, and then getting back to it with a fresh mind and actually admitting that this is just a unique piece of creation. I don't have to overthink it, you know.
I feel the same way with you, like, talking, that's why we're doing this podcast together, right?
Exactly.
It's good to have friends to validate your feelings and ideas. It's always, I
Yeah.
mean, we can have, like, super self-confidence, but we it's always good to have that something to fall back on, like friends
Yeah.
validation, so
Definitely. So now, respecting the time, because we say we're going to do 15 to 20 minutes. Dear viewers, if you have any ideas for the continued conversation in terms of what we should continue in the next podcast, let us know. Dilys, what is your preferred topic for next time?
Um, I don't mind if we wanna keep going with this, growth. We can talk about growth mindset. I mean, we're heading towards that anyway, if you want.
Yeah, that would be my natural feeling as well, in terms of we're heading towards that exactly. And also growth mindset, definitely. And if I may add to that, I had recently a personal experience, because we said we're going to talk about personal experiences, right? About how to decipher backhanded compliments. I said that already earlier, but I had it again. And so if you agree, if we could do one on these, because I don't know if it's at the moment in my surroundings, but they seem to happen quite frequently. And it's actually, you need to realize in the situation that this is one, you know?
Yes, let's do one like that too, because we've talked about it, but we didn't really. I mean, that's something definitely we can extend on. So
Okay, cool. All right. So, dear viewers, thank you for joining. I will now say to you, we see you next time. Probably this is going. Yes. Before I switch off, can we probably say to our viewers, we see each other after the summer break, right? Because I guess in your region now as well is summertime. So, dear viewers, we make sure to see you again in the late summer. Let's put it like that, right?
like September-ish, like summer.
September-ish, I would say as
Okay.
well. Yeah. Have a good summer and enjoy whatever you're doing out